Hello and welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet all of you today again after some time. And today we are going to talk about landscape astrophotography, or a mixture of these two genres. And this is the reason why next to me, as you can see, is sitting Moisés Cugat. Moisés, welcome in the studio.
Hello, thanks a lot for having me here.
If you don't know Moisés, let me just introduce him for a second, because obviously we have done several streams with him already. So probably if you are from Spain, because Moisés is Spanish, I am the Czech guy, so probably we are not native speakers. So please excuse our English if we do some mistakes today. But basically, everybody in Spain and Portugal know Moisés. He's one of the best landscape photographers, definitely, not only in this part of Europe. Aren't you? I thought you were number one. Or it's difficult to say, I know, because photography in general is very subjective, right? Some pictures with somebody like, somebody doesn't like, so it's difficult. But honestly, if you really want to judge by yourself, I will do one thing, and that is, in the button now, you can see Moisés' Instagram. And what I will also do, I will share his Instagram page right now, so that you can see his Instagram images. And basically, obviously, we could go through all of them, but from the landscape point of view and also the landscape astro point of view, they are just amazing. You know, these images are like top of the notch. So don't hesitate to click on the how do you call it? Follow on the follow button and follow Moisés' Instagram, obviously. And if some of you are from Spain or some nearby area and you want to join Moisés at one of his workshops, then obviously you can click down here, you know, in his Instagram, there is this link, which leads you to the web page. Obviously, it's not in English, but you can use Google Translator or anything. But the word talleres up here actually means workshops, which I just learned today. Though I speak some Spanish, I didn't know that talleres is workshops. But definitely Moisés is doing some amazing, not only landscape, but also cityscapes workshops. So basically you can just, come and join Moisés and try the equipment, first of all. And secondly, and this is probably the most important part, get Moisés' knowledge, because his knowledge of landscape photography and also landscape starry sky photography is amazing and overwhelming. We will see and learn today. So this is one part. Moisés, sorry,
my gosh, you're like my grandma.
I still need to take 2 more minutes, because, ladies and gentlemen, today actually, on 26th of February, we are not only having this stream about our new Astro camera, but we are also launching a new promotion, which is a cashback promotion, starting today and lasting until 6th of April, basically. So if you go on our webpage and click on the promotion, which is this one here, then first of all, you will see that there are quite a lot of different types of cameras. You can get OM-3 camera, you can get OM-1 Mark II camera. And basically what's more important to today's topic, which is like starry photography and astrophotography in general, then there are quite a couple of lenses which can be perfectly used for astrophotography. Let me just point them out. It is definitely the 300mm, if you really want to get some details of nebula, for example. There is the 8mm fisheye. Moisés, do you use 8mm fisheye or do you use the 740?
I use both. I use both. I have one 8mm fisheye myself. All my let's say long Milky Way photos are shot with this one. Okay. Yes, it's a fisheye, but it's very easy to make rectilinear after in post. And the 300, I don't have it, but I have it now downstairs. That I got it loaned by OMSYSTEM here, Spain. And I got shocked. It's incredible how good it is totally open. At f4, you have you know that when you shoot stars, then you are pushing the lens at its limits, Then there are some lenses that are not specifically for stars. Then when you try to shoot totally open, that is what you want. The more open, more light. Then the more light, more stars and more nebulas, then it's a good thing. Yeah. Then in exchange to shooting, when you are shooting so much open, sometimes you are losing quite a lot of quality, because you are getting some artifacts in like aberrations and things like that. and the 300 millimeters f4 is crazy good. I mean, when I saw the results, I was absolutely shocked of how good this is. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it's also one of the optically sharpest lens we have produced. I mean, the 75-1.8, which people know, and the 300, really amazing sharp lenses. And when I scroll down, you could have noticed that there are more lenses in basically this spring sketchback. And again, there are two of them which are very much useful for starry photography, and that is 4150 2.8 Pro version, obviously, and also probably the mostly widely used, the 714 2.8. This is the one you have, right?
I have it, but I don't used to shoot with this one because really? At the end I use basically a lot of friends of mine use this one. I have it actually. I have it here.
Okay.
And but for example, for to shoot stars, I used to use the 8 millimeters f1.8 for sure. I use the 17 1.2. Okay, these are my two to-go lenses for night sky. And now I have been shooting with the OM-3. I have been trying some a little bit more deep sky photos with the 300. That again, it's amazing. Nice. It's amazing.
Nice. Perfect. So anyhow, I just wanted to point out that from today, 26th of February until 6th of April, there's this spring cashback promotion running. This is here in Europe. Obviously, there are some slightly different promotions in US, in Australia. So please go check your local eShop pages, or even go to your dealer, you know, where you're used to buy equipment. Just go there, because this cashback obviously is valid also when the dealer sells you the equipment. So you can go there and ask which sort of equipment is in the cashback. But this is what you will find. You will find on our webpage. Okie dokie. Let me just switch this off. And what I will do is I will start our, let's say, new product presentation. It's not like a whole new product that you would be expecting us to create like a 100% new hardware. No. What we wanted to do is we wanted, let's say, our landscape photographers who are shooting landscapes, who travel a lot, you know, and many of them don't only shoot during daylight. They also want to take very amazing, nice, beautiful pictures even at night, meaning they will incorporate the starry sky into the landscape shot, obviously. And for that reason, we have decided to create a specific version of OM-3, which we call, as you can see, it's called OM-3 ASTRO camera, basically. Now, this is the camera as it looks like. Basically, if you look at it from the design point of view, yeah, Moisés has it in his hands right now, as you can see. The design is exactly the same as the original OM-3, or as a regular OM-3. Yeah, you can see it in Moisés' hands right now. The only difference, visible difference, I mean, is really the red square on the upper right corner from our view at the moment, which has these 3 stars and the Astro symbol on it, right? So that actually tells you that this is Astro modified OM-3 camera, and we will talk about the modifications in just a second. But now, what is, yeah, this is the camera without the lens. What is important actually to know? Why do we even need Astro modified cameras? Why can't we just take a regular camera and use it for a starry sky? Moisés, maybe you can just give me a short answer before I go to the next slide, where basically the answer is. But tell me your opinion.
Yeah, basically the biggest modification in this camera is there is a slight modification in the sensor, okay? And this sensor added a filter specific to get some of the nebulas in the sky, okay? These nebulas, the nebulas that in the night sky are the most visible or the most interesting or the most prominent usually are made of hydrogen. There are other gases, okay? But hydrogen emits one light to one specific frequency. So in this camera, OM System put a filter that is specifically sensitive to this hydrogen alpha emission from the nebulas. So it's perfect because we can see more nebulas. Nebulas is good. Nebula good.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. So basically it's visible even on this image, right? The reddish part of the image is something that you would not be able to capture with a regular camera, or just very dim,
very dim. very dim.
Very dim, yeah, very dim. It will be there, but very like not really visible, not so protruding, you know. So the reddish colors are usually being seen by astro modified cameras, as Moisés just mentioned, that it's the hydrogen alpha emission line, which is going from the nebula or from some hydrogen clouds which are out there in the space. And let me just switch to another slide. And obviously there are more reasons, you know, because simply standard cameras from the white balance point of view, they are designed for daylight photography. They are not designed for night photography. So this is also one of the reasons. You can actually see this amazing image on the left side, which is yours image, Moisés, of course. Yeah. And basically you can see this one has already been shot with the OM-3 ASTRO. Am I right? Or is it the...
It was shot with the Astro modified sensor, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So you can already see that basically the Milky Way is very nice protruding, you know, from the image or in the image. Then obviously another reason, which would be the reason of myself, for example, because I don't consider myself any like professional astrophotographer. I'm an occasional landscape photographer when I travel, you know, so I take some nice landscape pictures. And also from time to time, I want to take pictures like this, similar like this one. But obviously, as you can see, this beautiful landscape together with the Milky Way up on the sky, it has this reddish color. So this is something I will not really be able to achieve with a regular camera, which simply does not get this red color, you know. Yeah. So again, I mean, for this type of photography, which I personally call landscape astro, if I can, let's say, combine these two genres together. So to me,
Landstro. Let's call it Landstro.
Landstro.
Wow. Okay, we invented the word now.
It sounds like Land Rover, you know, we are getting to cars.
Landscape astro, Landstro. Okay, good.
Yeah, it sounds good. Well, okay, from now on, please everybody call it Landstro. Yeah, okay. We'll see next time when we meet people if they still call it Landstro. Okay, so obviously also to reduce the need for heavy post, because this new camera, we'll talk about it in a second, but this new camera for me is a brilliant equipment or tool to actually grab this type of images without some special extra minutes or hours, you know, editing the image, because this camera in JPEG is capable of giving me these shots just out of the camera, out of the box, very simply. So because there are some special modes which are dedicated to astrophotography, which we'll talk about in a second, as I said. And also because it allows longer exposure. Sorry, Moisés, you want to say something?
Sorry, Tomas. Yeah, I think you described very well most of the landscape photographers here or around, okay? Because my case, if you check my Instagram, you will see that I am not an astrophotographer. I'm a landscape photographer, but sometimes I like to shoot by night because night is amazing, okay? So if you want to go one step ahead and you want to get all these nebulas and all these colors at the end, you are going to end up in a modified sensor with an old camera or whatever. Then now OM system is giving us a camera that it will be supported and it will be repaired if there is something wrong, or I mean, we don't have to risk one of our cameras and send it to one place and that they will do some modifications in our sensor, and after that, if it's broken, who is going to repair that? Then I think OM system knows that this is a very niche camera, but it's consistent with the philosophy of going out and shoot and enjoy shooting outside and being with us when we are going to explore what happens in places that maybe we never been, and we cannot take a lot of gear with us, you know. Then I love that OM system from my point of view, that I am an ambassador, but I am not OM system personal. This how brave they have been getting and putting this camera in our hands, that it's very specific, but it's absolutely fantastic to have it. And if you want,
I cannot agree more. I cannot agree more, really, because I mean, if you look at the camera itself, no matter if you already have a regular OM3 or if you are OM1, OM1 Mark II user, or even OM5 user, you know, and you shoot landscape, you love to travel in the mountains, wherever, you even sleep overnight, you know, in the mountains, and you want to take this specific shots you just mentioned, this tiny little thing, you know, if you have this anywhere in your backpack, it just doesn't take any space and it's so lightweight. So basically, definitely you can have this as an optional secondary camera, which brings you this, let's say, after the sun, what is it, sundusk, sundown, after sundown images,
Yeah.
you know, so basically the stars.
Actually, I think this is one of the reasons that OM Systems selected the OM-3 instead of the OM-1 to do the modification, because what they want is, and they understand that this is going to be another camera. It will not be the only camera that we will take. It will be always another camera that we'll take with us. Then also, if the less the weight, the better. If you put it in a tracker, that is something that people will do with this camera. So yeah, it's perfect that they use this one for a lot of reasons. Yeah.
Sure, perfect. And also another reason, obviously, because it allows you know, longer, cleaner exposures with less noise that we all know. So basically, let me come to some very astro basics, because obviously if you are astro shooting, you all know this very basic information which we are going to share now. But if you are not aware, why do we need specific dedicated camera which is astro modified? So with this, why do we need this modification in the camera to be actually able to capture this reddish nebula color? Then this is the reason. What you see is here, it's regular spectrum of light which is coming towards us. Obviously, UV spectrum is all around here, but we don't see it. This is not something that human eyes is capable of seeing. We don't even see infrared spectrum. So the left part and the right part, we just don't see. So in the middle, there's this visible spectrum, which goes roughly from 380 to 750 or 780 nanometers. This is what we see. But, you know, the sensors themselves, they are able to see UV spectrum as well. They are able to see infrared spectrum as well. And that is the reason why every sensor manufacturer is actually placing specific filters, cut-out filters, which cut out the UV light from it and which cut out the infrared light from it as well. What happens is, if you put this, for example, the infrared filter in front of the sensor so that the sensor doesn't actually reflect or react to infrared light, then unfortunately the regular IR filter is actually blocking many or let's say a big part of the red spectrum also in the visible part, which actually means, if you look, there is this point which says 656 nanometers hydrogen alpha, which is exactly what Moisés was talking about. This is what the nebula are emitting, you know. The nebulas are emitting this particular wavelength, 656 nanometers. But unfortunately, the IR filters, which are in front of the sensors, they are blocking most of this light. So normal sensor, because of this filter, is not capable of seeing these nice, beautiful reddish colors, which are out there in the sky. And therefore, what we need to modify is not the sensor itself, but is the infrared filter. So the filter in front of the sensor needs to be modified. And yes, OM-3 ASTRO has this sensor modified, so it actually is capable of taking almost 100%, you will see it on the next slide, of this hydrogen alpha emission line. So it does see all these beautiful, amazing red colors. But Moisés, I'm returning one slide back. Can you explain somehow how actually, or where does the hydrogen alpha 656 nanometers wavelengths light gets from? Where is it from? Where does it appear in the space?
Yeah, the point is hydrogen, the electrons of the hydrogen, there are a lot of nebulas of hydrogen in space, okay? And these hydrogen atoms, when the electrons are jumping from, to make it easy, from one layer to another, and they are losing energy, they are losing this energy in the shape of light emission, and they are emitting specifically at this frequency. So that's why we want to see as much as we can of this frequency to get the information of this nebula and be able to get them in the sensor. I think I saw one question if this camera is okay for normal photography. The answer is the colors are not going to be specifically perfect like in any other camera, you know. You can toggle with the white balance and light and get something close, but To be honest, the answer is no. You need a normal camera, and this camera if you want to shoot by night. By night, this is going to give you a lot of advantages. During the day, it's not your camera.
Yeah, I mean, there is sort of one way around, but it's definitely not like 100%. It works in maybe 10% of situations, and that is because obviously during the day, the daylight changes, you know, from warm to colder colors and so on. Light in the shadow is different from light directly on the sun. So there are many different types of basically white balancing. What you could do even with this Astro modified camera is to use the manual white balance, where you would need to carry either the gray gray sheet or white sheet, you know, to take picture of it every single time that you want to shoot something in the surroundings, which is being lit by the light, which is there at the moment, you know, and you can record it into the memory. For example, if you would be shooting in the house where your light doesn't change, then you use this white or shadow paper, you memorize it into the memory of your camera for once, and it stays there forever. But then it means that you go out and you start shooting images, obviously the white balance will be totally different. Then you go somewhere else where the light is again totally different. Again, you would have to change it. So it is possible, but basically it only changes it in JPEG. In RAW, you would have to do it later on in the computer. So it takes time, you know, so there's more hassle around it. So it's much better to have a regular camera. And if you are in Astro somehow, then to have the Astro somewhere hidden in your pocket, you know, for the time, for when the time comes, you know, for astrophotography.
Look, Appalachian Tomas, I don't know if I pronounce that well, does this camera improve astrophotography when attached to a telescope? Yes, of course. Be careful. It improves if you compare with what you get attaching a normal OM-3 or a OM-1, okay? But obviously this camera doesn't pretend to be a competitor of the specific astrophotography cameras that are thought to be attached to a telescope, okay? Then the answer is yes, because you will be able to see a lot more of nebulas that you will not get with a normal camera. But if you get into the gear, the infinite amount of possibilities and gear that you could get if you are really dedicated to Astro, this is another thing. This camera doesn't pretend to go against those.
Right. So basically, to sum it up shortly, the major physical difference between OM-3 ASTRO and OM-3 regular is that the infrared filter or IR filter, which is in front of the sensor, is different, and this one allows most of the hydrogen alpha emission line go through and hit the sensor. So the result is we are getting this beautiful, amazing reddish nebula colors, you know, in our pictures. So that's the major hardware improvement. Obviously, there are some software ones, and we will get them to in a bit. This is just an example of how it may look like when you shoot the same part of the night sky without, which is the right image, without the filter. So this is the regular OM-3, and on the left side you can see there's much more of this nebula red color on the left image, right, which is shot with the OM-3 ASTRO. So this is the major difference, basically, which you can get between the regular camera and the ASTRO camera. You are simply getting more information, which is not normally visible to regular sensors. Also, there have been quite a couple of questions, because today is not the day when we are introducing OM-3 ASTRO, right? We have introduced it like I think 2 weeks ago already. So there have been quite a couple of questions already out in the market. And in Japanese market, for example, there was this EM1 Mark III already being sold as an ASTRO version for quite a couple of years already, you know. And people were asking, how is this camera better or worse, but obviously in this case it's better than the previous EM1 Mark III ASTRO, which was ASTRO as well? Well, obviously, even if you take a regular cameras, this OM-3 has got a totally new stacked sensor, and obviously it has the new processor TruePic 10. So basically, not only the read, which has nothing to do with ASTRO, but obviously the readout is much faster if you are shooting sequential shooting. recording video and stuff like that. But also what is important, that you are getting much less noise with this new type of sensor, the stack sensor.
I think,
and higher dynamic range, right? You talked about last time.
Yeah, I think letting aside the Astro modification, if you compare the EM1 OMD EM1 Mark III with the OM1 or OM1 Mark II, it's the same, right. Or the OM3. The big difference, I think the improvements in the sensor are perfect for night sky. I mean, one of the specifics in where the sensor is really much better, the new one, the stack back illuminated sensor compared with the old sensor that was very nice too, is the big improvement at high ISO. At high ISO, the improvement is huge. It's almost, I will say, at the moment, I remember that OM system said like 2 stops better at high ISO. Okay, it produced a lot of confusion, because a lot of people start thinking that the 2 steps of improvement in dynamic range, it was from nominal, and at nominal the difference was minimum. Almost you cannot even notice. A little bit, yes, in the quality of the colors. Not that one is better than the other, but the colors were a little bit different. But as long as you are going up in the ISO, putting the ISO up and up and up and up, you can see that the ISO in the new stack sensor is the noise in the new stack sensor is much more consistent, and the lots of greens and magenta points that appear in the other camera, in this one they retain better the original colors, and this is amazingly good. And also it makes the noise reduction AI programs, you are putting them easier, you know.
Yes.
So having the new sensor Astro modified is really a great thing.
Yeah, even this image which is being shown here is actually shot with ISO 25,600. I mean, can you imagine? Obviously, it's with the high-res mode, but still, I mean, with this high ISO, and you are getting this this amazing results. Yep. Okay, now basically, let's talk for a second about astrophotography with non-astro modified cameras, because obviously you can do it too, not with such great results, because as we said, you will never be able to achieve this reddish nebula colors of these hydrogen alpha emission lines. You will not get them simply because of the filter in front of the sensor, which does not necessarily mean that you cannot use your regular camera, whether it's OM5, you know, OM or OM5 Mark II nowadays, whether it's regular OM3 or OM1 Mark II. These cameras you can also use for, let's say, regular starry sky photography. And there are already some features within these cameras I've just been mentioning, so OM3, 5, and 1, which can actually help you. First of all is this starry sky AF. The first time we have introduced this focusing system for focusing on stars was actually EM1 Mark III, long time ago. This was Moisés, wasn't this your first Olympus camera, the EM1 Mark III?
No. I started with EM10. Then I went to 5 Mark II. The EM10 was a Mark III, 5 Mark II. Then OMD EM1 Mark II. Then the 3, and with the 3. I remember the first time that I used the stereo autofocus. I was in the Dolomites, and I pressed the button and I said, "Oh my God, this is magic! It's amazing!" And let me tell you guys one thing about the stereo autofocus. This is a stereo autofocus. It's obvious that is to focus the stars, okay? But if you think a little bit, you will realize that if you use, for example, the 8 millimeters 1.8 at maximum aperture, like 1.8, if you do a little bit the hyperfocal, you will realize that if you focus the stars, everything that is at 2 meters from you, 2 meters and a little bit more, is in focus. So in most of the cases, using the stereo autofocus by night, allows us to focus the subject too, you know?
Yes.
Then sometimes, you know, these things that people with old school cameras, like practically any camera that is not an OM system right now, I can say this because I am not OM system guy. So then when you see people with the flashlights putting light in the subject, and people saying no, keep it, no, too much light, a little bit less light, wait, keep it, I'm no, everybody focus, no, we don't need to do this. We just use stereo autofocus. Another thing is you are shooting something that is very close. If it's very close to you, then obviously you will have to focus it specifically. But using a stereo autofocus, if you know your lenses, you will realize that most of the times you will not need to do another focus to the subject, and this is important.
Yes, absolutely. Also, another feature which you have, all of you who have got Olympus or OM system cameras for couple of years, because we have this function for ages already, is the live composite. This is an amazing mode for, let's say, long time exposures. And for example, what it can give you, not only you can use it for light painting and stuff like that, but you can do the star trails, you know. So you just put the camera on the tripod, you point it at the stars, you know, turn on the live composite mode, press it twice, and just leave it for half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on how much you want the stars to actually make the movement on the sky, on the starry sky. And that's it. Then you come back to the camera, if it's still there, of course. So you probably need to stay close by so that you can keep an eye on it. And you come back to the camera, to your tripod, and you press the trigger again, which means you are ending up the session, the shooting session of the camera. And there you are. You've got the image. So you don't have like thousands of images on your SD card, which you need to bring back to the computer and then let some software or do it even manually stack it together. No, the camera does it for you. You know. So basically, this is your amazing image of star trails. But tell me, Moisés, obviously, or I assume that you let the camera shoot for maybe this is roughly half an hour or maybe an hour. But then you took a flashlight and you lit the tree, right, with it?
Yeah, I light this tree with a drone.
Yes, with a drone.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
That's why if you can see that it has the light is coming from above. Okay, so then here they're asking me for the camera settings. I don't remember this one. It's super old. It's like I was starting shooting here. I didn't know exactly what I was doing here. I was just testing things and getting crazy with it. Then I found somebody told me about this tree in the middle of the field. I went there by night. I went to a wedding of one of my friends. Then when I finish eating and like that, I just take the car, went here to shoot. And with the drone, I was like all wet and it was terrible. I can find it for you guys.
But it's actually a great idea to light it from the drone, because now when you say it, I realize really that the light is coming from the upwards, because I know many of these
very well.
Yeah,
using drones to illuminate this kind of nightscapes it works very well, really.
Yeah, perfect, amazing. Now let's continue with some other advantages which you already have, or you will have once you buy Olympus OM system camera in your basic cameras, not Astro. This is the digital level gauge. Obviously, this helps a lot, especially at night when you are shooting. If you had this manual mechanical level gauge, you know, with the water bubble, you probably don't see it, or you need a flashlight to lit it up. But digital level gauge, it just shows you on the screen, and you can level the camera absolutely precisely. Then handheld high-res mode. Let's talk about this a little bit later, because we do have some more information about this, but it's an amazing stuff which perfectly works for starry sky photography. And then obviously sometimes, for example, if you do this live composite mode for star trails and you really are shooting for maybe a couple of hours, then maybe one battery would not be enough sometimes. Then either you have OM-1, Mark 1, Mark 2, where you can attach a grip, which grip is an amazing tool, because you can put a second battery into it. So for that particular reason, you are basically shooting endlessly or almost endlessly for 6 hours, and it really lasts forever. But if you only have one battery, which is OM3 case, then you need some external power, right? And OM3 as well as OM1, they are all power delivery system cameras, which means that you can power them and use them at the same time via these power banks. So this is something that you already may have in a regular OM.
Let me add one thing, and I'm very sorry because when we were checking the presentation, I should have thought before. I just think about now, which is the live view, the night live.
Yes,
the live view. The live view is, I mean, you see the Milky Way there before shooting. Okay, if you are shooting with 1.2, 1.8, you can see perfectly. And you don't need any kind of light to just frame your photo. It's perfect.
You mean the night vision mode, basically, which lets you see everything in the viewfinder or in the LCD. The night vision live mode. That's what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So this is regular cameras, but then if we switch to OM-3 ASTRO, then besides the major hardware improvement we have already talked about, which is the modulated filter in front of the sensor, which accepts the 656 nanometer wavelengths, which is the major part. But then there are also some software features, software things which are different. And these are mostly useful for me as a beginner in astrophotography, or those of you who really want to have it as one of the maybe third or fourth genre. It's not going to be your like major genre. And these are, for example, color profiles, because if you look at the image of the OM3 here, just left next to the lens, you can see there is a special dial. And this dial is actually color profile dial, which with normal camera, it lets you set up 4 color film simulations or 4 black and white film simulations. But we have used this specific dial to actually change 2 of them. So color 1 and color 2 now is not let's say, giving you some kind of film simulations. It gives you a specific dedicated astrophotography oriented modes. I will show you within a second what exactly does it mean. Then obviously on the top of the camera, you have this exposure mode dial, where beside the aperture priority, speed priority, manual, and so on, you have the custom modes, C1 to C5. There are 5 of them actually, more than on our flagship. There are only 4 of them, but OM3 has 5 of them. And first 3 of them are preset for astrophotography. Now, one question to you, Moisés, tell me, have you used these C1, C2, C3 modes in the OM3 ASTRO, which you have? Have you tried them?
Yeah, one is for there is one thing that it's really amazing in the 3 that it's not in the 1, that is you can actually write down which one is each one of the custom modes. You can say astrophotography, landscape, and I hate that it's not in the 1 because anyway. So they made one for the first of all is for like let's say Milky Way, with a foreground and like that. Then the second one is for more like deep sky photography, like for example when we were talking about the 300 f4 lens for this one. And the other one is for handheld photography, because guys, I could not believe it myself because my hands are not totally stable. Okay, I shoot a Milky Way 15 seconds handheld. 15 seconds with the 8 millimeters.
With the fish eye, right? With the fish eye, I guess.
Yes, with 8 millimeters. 15 seconds. I mean, I could not believe it. Okay, but I was just pushing and pushing and pushing, just as a game. How long can I shoot? And honestly, this was one big improvement from the OM1 to the OM1 Mark II that it's also adopted by the OM3. And it's some things, it's these things that people say, no, it's the same camera. Come on, the same camera. You got one more stop of stabilization, and it's absolutely crazy how amazing that is. And nobody pay attention to these things, and after that nobody used them because nobody pay attention, and it's crazy that you can shoot this crazy amount of time without a tripod, you know. It will be used. Will people shoot nightscapes handheld? I cannot think about myself shooting handheld, but yeah, you have a mode here, you can do it. I mean, it's crazy.
Now you can. Now you can. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I have my 15 seconds photo to show it.
Okay, so and also the last line which you see here is the function button settings. We all know that all Olympus and OM system cameras are very famous for customizing. You know, you can customize just about everything. There are many buttons. It's not only the button which is called FN on the camera, but it's also the button which has this plus minus, which is like exposure correction button. There is this red video button normally, and so on. So there are many buttons which have some, let's say, factory settings. They have some function, but they can be reprogrammed to some other functions which you want to. So you can really program the camera the way you want. And what we have done with OM-3 ASTRO is that we have programmed 3 of these buttons to astro modes, to modes which are very used, or functions which are very useful during astrophotography. Within next 2 slides, you will see what type of changes we have done. So let's come back to this color profile dial, which is the red color. I mean, sorry, the black picture of this dial on the left side, which you can see. Basically, I want your eyes to be pointed out. Yeah, exactly. Moises is just pointing out his finger on it. What I want your eyes to point out is this, let's call it color wheels, okay? The 2 color wheel pictures. Basically, they are showing the setting. Obviously, it's only reflected in JPEG, not in RAW. But if you want to get the image straight out of the camera, which is exactly what I would want, because I don't really want to spend much more time on the image. So I would choose, for example, in the C1, which is for the astrophotography, for the nebula colors, which you want the red color to be even more stressed out. Then you choose the setting of color 1 in this dial. See? So basically, if you see in this color wheel, the red is totally stressed out, while the greenish blue color is depressed. And in the C2 and C3 settings is kind of similar. Red again is being blown out. It's made very vivid, the red color, while the green and blue color is somehow, let's say, more there than in the C1 version or on the color 1 version, but it is still there, slightly more than in the C1 mode. So this is
actually,
what.
Sorry. Actually, when you put C1 or C2, the color 1 or color 2 are already in the preset. You don't have to choose every time. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, if you don't want the red colors to stick out too much, you can always change it, you know, because these are modifiable, you know, like you can do with regular color and black and white film simulation filters. You can do the same here, and then memorize it into the memory of the camera if you want to. But obviously, every single time you fully reset the camera, you will get these Astro settings back again on the C1, C2, and C3 buttons, and also on the color profile dial. Now, this is detail. I'm not going to talk about this in detail, right? But here you can see exactly what you just said, Moisés, that basically the C1 is there for the, let's say, astrophotography type of shots. C2 is more for starry landscape. So it's a combination of landscape down in the picture, while on top of the picture, there will be the starry sky or Milky Way, something like that. And C3, as you have just said, so I'm just repeating your words, is for, obviously, is for the handheld shooting. But there is one major difference between C1, C2, and C3, and that is C3 is not a high-res shot. You can shoot it in the biggest JPEG plus RAW, which is the basic setting. You can see it's large SF, large superfine JPEG plus RAW together. While if you look at the C1, C2 settings in the second line, which is the image quality mode, then you see that it's the 50 megapixels. So it is actually using, or it's turning on automatically, the high-res shot mode, which we'll talk about in a second. Moisés, I will then ask you to explain how the high-res shot mode in the starry sky photography works. But basically, these are the settings. Now, I want you to go down on the last 3 lines, because these are the function buttons. You know, we've got more of them on the camera, But basically, we have decided to switch FN function button, then the LCD or viewfinder button, and the video recording button to a different mode, to a different setup, which is more suitable for astrophotography. So basically, FN button now in the default setting gives you magnification, which is something that you need. You want to magnify it to see, for example, if you would not be using starry sky autofocus mode, because in some cases, there are very few cases, but in some cases it might not work. So you would have to switch back to the manual focusing. And in that case, you want to magnify it to see it better if it's in focus or not. Then obviously we have switched this viewfinder button to a night vision. This is what you are talking about just a few seconds ago. So basically you can switch it on and off by this simple button. And the video recording button now is enabling and disabling the focus ring, which is great again, because as I said, if you, for whatever reason, you have to switch to manual focusing, then you focus very precisely with this ring, but then you want to lock it somehow. So you just press this video recording button and it's locked, because then you can turn it around no matter how, it doesn't move anymore. So it stays in the focus line. So now, Moisés, please explain us handheld high-res mode. How come that the handheld high-res mode works for astrophotography when we all know that in a regular shooting, if I would be shooting landscape photography and I would be shooting in the handheld high-res mode, then basically the camera is only capable of making the 50 megapixel out of this 20 megapixel sensor only because I'm shaking my hands, right? So the way it works in a normal way when I'm not shooting astro, but a regular thing like landscape photography, is that I turn on the handheld high-res mode and the camera actually uses my body shake, because no matter how still I want to, I try to stay, I'm still shaking, which actually means that I press the trigger, the camera takes 12 shots, one after another, very quickly, and they are slightly shifted towards each other compared to one another, which means that the camera is actually capable of creating, out of these 12 images, creating one much bigger image, which will have this higher resolution. But now tell me, explain me, how come that when I put the camera on a tripod, because this is the astro mode, right?
This is the trick. What we did is what we are doing is we are using something that was not thought specifically for this in a creative way. Okay, then you describe it perfectly. The idea of the high-res modes, both of them, is I shoot a lot of photos and I align these photos slightly like move. So imagine that every half a pixel up, half a pixel left, half a pixel right, half a pixel down, half a pixel. So then with these half a pixels, at the end, what I get is more resolution. It's not that it's AI and we artificially are creating new pixels. No, the pixels are there. We are really in a high resolution. Then you have the high resolution in tripod, which is the sensor which is moving. And as Tomas said, if you are doing a handheld, high resolution is your own movements, what the camera is doing. Then what is the camera doing? What the camera is doing is shooting the photos and aligning them the way that the camera needs to be aligned to get these 40, 50 million pixels photo. Raw photo, it's raw, it's important. So what if instead of I select what if I select handheld high resolution shot, and instead of putting the camera in my hands, I put the camera in the tripod and I point the sky. Okay, what is going to happen is the camera is going to shoot one photo, it's going to shoot a second photo, and the sky will move a little bit. The sky is not there for waiting for me to finish. I mean, I'm using the maximum time I can. Then the photos are, imagine, 12 seconds, or with the 8mm, 20 seconds each. So I do 20 seconds, then the next photo will be a little bit move. Okay, then my camera is in the tripod. So the camera will align the photos, because what is happening is the camera is thinking that I'm holding the camera in my hands and it's me, the one who is getting asleep and falling down like that. Okay, but no, the camera is in the tripod and it's the sky what is moving. So at the end, what you get is that, imagine with this lens, okay, this lens I can shoot around 20 seconds, okay, more or less, okay, 20 something, 23, 25, 20, let's say 20, to try to ensure that I got points in the stars. Let's be conservative. Sorry, guys. So 20 seconds, I have to take 12 photos. The total exposure time is 240 seconds. It's crazy, because at the end, when we are shooting the sky, the night sky, you can use several ways to increase the amount of time that you are exposing. You can use trackers, or you can take a lot of photos and after that align them in post. But you have to take the photos, put them in a software to do the alignment, let the software do the alignment, and take them back to your edition program and start editing. What I'm telling is, you have 12 photos aligned here in camera. Then that's amazing. Okay, can I share my screen 1 second?
Yes, sure.
I will share my screen. Share screen, and I will share my entire screen. This one here.
So
Share.
basically summing it up, it's not my hands shaking or moving, it is the sky moving, right, towards one side.
Yeah. Can you see?
I'm sharing your screen now. Yes, we can see.
Okay,
now.
I will press play. It's a small video, okay? That it's just a photo of the Milky Way shoot from my house. You, in the left, you have 10 seconds, 800 ISO. In the right, what I did is I push to make it worst, okay? Worst conditions in the right. In the right is 4 seconds instead of 10, okay? And I put the 3200 ISO. So this is what you get in your normal photo. And if I search the same star cluster, so you can compare directly, this is what you get with the, okay, where is it? It's there, look there. Okay, so this is what, let's think about this for a second. I will stop it here, okay?
Well, basically the left image, to me, the one on the left side, seems as it has much more noise, because these are not all stars, right? It's like more noisy, even though it's 800 ISO, while the one on the right side is more cleaner to me.
And it's more clean. And I mean, here what I was trying is to showcase an extreme, okay? If I have shot 10 seconds, 800 ISO in the right, I will have got even much better result, okay? These photos are not pushed in edition. It's just basically the raw, and I didn't do anything with the noise. So this is a fantastic way to use our camera without the need of using a tracker, for example, you know, because this is not exactly the same. I mean, tracking and stacking is not the same. Both ways of shooting, what we are looking for is to improve the quality of our low signal scenarios. Okay, we are shooting something that is, first of all, the signal is low, and second, we have a lot of dynamic range because the stars are very bright and the nebulas are very dim. So we are in the worst condition possible. Okay, so what we need is to get creative. Getting creative is basically stacking photos. This is one method, and the other method is to extend our shooting time using a tracker. Okay, then I suppose everybody knows what a tracker is. A tracker is simply a device, for if there is somebody who doesn't know, a device that allows us to make the camera rotate in the same way that the sky is rotating. So if the sky is rotating one revolution per day, if we make the camera rotate 1 revolution per day in the same direction and align the same way, then you could if you did it perfect, okay, you could, in theory, it's not possible, but in theory, if you could do it absolutely perfect, you could shoot for as long as you want. Okay, so that will be great, but all trackers have limitations. But stacking is fantastic because you can stack as many photos as you want. In the meantime, you can align them together. So having the possibility of stacking 12 photos in camera without having to align, without having to do anything, is really, really amazing, and the results are absolutely great. You know,
Perfect.
This is what I was.
Yeah. So that is basically to say that even if you have our regular camera and you have the camera with handheld high-res mode, you can still try and use it for starry sky photography. Obviously, you will not get those nice, beautiful nebula red colors. That's not possible simply with a regular camera. But you can achieve amazing Milky Ways in regular, let's say, black and white type of photography. You will not get the colors properly, but you can still achieve much better images than when shooting single shot images.
Absolutely.
So don't worry, don't be afraid of using handheld high-res shot on a tripod, not for normal shots, but for starry sky shots.
There are two questions here that it's important that we answer, specifically the one that Anita is doing. Anita, thank you very much for your question. Is basically it's aligning the foreground. No, the answer is no. This is like a tracker. Okay, you have to think in this mode as a tracker. If you have the stars aligned, you will not have the foreground. If you have the foreground, you will not have the stars, because at this moment is not possible. It doesn't mean that maybe in future OM system in a new model will implement in camera something that will be capable to differentiate the sky from foreground and be able to stack both separately and give us a row with both. But right now, no. Then, but if you think a little bit, it doesn't matter, because what we are doing is we are doing something that is increasing a lot, like 12 times our exposure time. Okay, so this means that the other way to do that is using a tracker. If you use a tracker, you have to do a photo for the foreground, another one for the stars, and you have to put them together in post. So this is a little bit the idea. When I use this, I shoot the foreground and I shoot the stars separately. Okay. And Duncan is asking for what's the maximum total time you will recommend. It's not the one that I would recommend. It's the one that your focal length, the focal length of your lens is letting you shoot. For example, if I'm shooting with the 8mm, then I know with this one I am around 20 seconds, and then since the camera is doing 12 images, it's going to be 240. Could be 23. 25 seconds. Yeah, probably you will start having some kind of stars a little bit move, but if if you are doing astro, is probably no. The answer is no. If you are doing a foreground and the foreground is the important thing and you want to have a nice Milky Way in the back, that you don't care if the stars are a little bit not as a points, then you can stretch it a little bit more and do 25 per 12. If you are using the 17mm, which is this one that I'm using now for the session, the maximum is around 30 seconds. I used to shoot 10 seconds when I'm using this one. Then 10 seconds per 12 images is 100. If you use 120, it depends on your focal.
Yeah. There is this question which I'm not sure about, because I think we have explained, is the high-res function still a single exposure? Well, high-res never has been a single exposure. High-res has always been a series of images which are stacked together. And depending on whether it's tripod high-res, which is 8 images, or handheld high-res, which is 12 images in this case, but it has never been a single image. I mean, yes, on the card, on the SD card, there is this one image. If it's in JPEG, if it's
actually there are two. It's the 50, and always the good thing of this is it's two images. One is the result and it's the typical raw of OM system, the ORF, the all inputs raw file. But you have an ORI, ORI, which is the first of the photos. 20 megapixels, the first of the photos is also keeping it, because until the end, you don't know if the system will be able to stack all these images together, because maybe the camera moved too much, or maybe something happened in one of the photos and it's not capable to align them. And maybe you will get I have not been able to align that, and you don't want to lose that photo. So you always will have the first one as a normal photo. It's a really good thing that the camera is doing this.
Yes. Also, in the OM-3, once you are using this handheld high-res shot for astrophotography, and basically the exposure of every single image is more than half a second. So, for example, as you just said, you made some 4 seconds images. Then it's 4 times 12, obviously. Then what it shows you is this green symbols, and it actually tells you, okay, there will be 12 images, but now you are on the 4th one. Now there will be 5th one, 6th one, and so on and so on. So we can actually visually see how many images the camera has already taken and how much are there to be taken. After this is done, after the camera takes the images, obviously it still is taking the dark frame. So this is like what shows on the screen. You will see this noise reduction in progress. So you don't like turn off the camera and you don't do anything. And then obviously once the dark frame is done, so all the images are basically done within the, let's say, the buffer memory of the camera. Then these images are stacked together and then sent to the SD card. This is when you see the busy line, when the camera is actually working on the images and making it into one final image. So this is what you will see. So there are some.
Yeah. I see very interesting questions here. For example, here it's very interesting, William. So is the ORI the first shot, then could be used for the foreground? The answer is yes, you can use it. You are not going to be shot by any sniper for doing it. Okay, but there are a couple of things. The first one is 20 megapixels. The second one will be 50 megapixels. So you will have to make the one small, the stars smaller. So, but the answer is yes. But remember, you had to use some settings that are heavily conditioned because of the spin of our Earth. So it's a pity. Actually the foreground, it doesn't matter if you shoot 60 seconds with a lower ISO. So the answer is yes, you can use it, but my recommendation is you use the settings that you need to use for the stars, and after that you use the best settings you can for the foreground.
Yeah. Also because of the exposure, right? Because, for example, if you use this high-res mode and use 4 seconds exposure times 12, obviously, then you get an amazing final shot of the starry sky. But 4 seconds may not be enough to actually light up the foreground.
You will have much more noise. You will have much more noise.
Just very, very black, you know.
Yeah. So your foreground will be really, really noisy. Actually, if we are talking about people that will buy this camera, all these people will have 2 cameras. Then best thing that they can do is leave one shooting the sky, use the other to shoot the foreground. Then you will have the perfect colors for this foreground and the best possible colors for the sky.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, then these were basically the hardware and software changes in the camera, in the OM-3 ASTRO. But obviously, if you want to get rid of some light pollution, for example, then you don't do it with a software, right? So firmware wouldn't work. You need to have some kind of specialized physical filters put in front of the sensor. And this is exactly it. The BMF is basically an abbreviation of body mount filters. So it's body mount. There are 2 types of body mount filters which we use, or which you can buy for the OM-3 camera. And you can see on the right side, you can see how it's attached basically to the camera body. You just put it there, insert it there, and then you put the lens over it. It's so very easy. But now, what are these filters for? I mean, you can quite clearly see on these 2 images that obviously if you are shooting in some kind of landscape where there are some cities nearby, or some other places where there is too much of artificial light, then obviously on the right image you can see there is too much of this yellow fringing, yellow coloring, which is obviously the lights from the artificial lights from the city. While if you put the filter on, then you get the image much more similar to the one on the left side. Have you tried this, Moisés? Did you have them?
Yeah, yes, and the results are amazing. Specifically with the light pollution filter, the light pollution is our worst enemy. When you are shooting Milky Way, it's a little bit blah. I don't care. You know, you do whatever you can, the way you can, and you get it. But if you want nebulas, nebulas are so dim that if you have a little bit of pollution, then the results are exponentially worse every time, you know, for every bit more of light pollution that you have. Then if you add this filter, you get much clearer, much powerful nebulas for sure. One thing, it's a light pollution, but it doesn't mean, and I think this example is perfect because it's not that it removed the light pollution. It removed some frequencies. My point is, before, long ago, you know, in the cities and the villages and most of the night lights, most of the lampposts and like that were mercury lights and were some kind of these orange yellow lights, you know. Then these, do you remember when we said that the hydrogen gets some specific frequency? Then these lights also emit some specific frequency. So this filter is doing a little bit the opposite, that one that lets the light, the frequency of the nebulas pass. This one, what it's doing is blocking the specific frequencies that we don't like. And it's not that we don't like them, it's that they are the reason of the pollution. Then this example is very good because, as you can see, you have less light, but it's not a lot less light. You have better light in the left. And this is because now we have a lot of LED lights in the cities, and these LED lights, everyone is there is not one specific frequency that these LEDs are emitting. So look, Chuck is telling this. Yeah, exactly. The sodium vapor orange is what this one is suppressing. Still, it's suppressing a lot, and it's good to have.
Yeah. Okay, so there is yet another filter. This one, I honestly wonder, as I'm not an astrophotographer, I wonder what is this filter for? Please explain me. Because obviously, if we look at these two images, the one on the right side without any filter, to me, it's much sharper, while the second one actually pops out the stars. They are much bigger, but in the same time, they are much softer. They are kind of blurred.
If you're an astrophotographer and you want stars, probably you will not like this one. But if you are a landscape photographer that you want is a beautiful Milky Way, the idea of this is the stronger stars, they are like pushed to the front.
Yeah, they're bigger. They are somehow bigger, basically. Exactly. They are more visible on the sky.
Exactly. It's similar to these mist filters, you know, that we are using in portraits and in to do this cinematic look. Then this is quite similar because what they do is they mess with the highlights, with the strong highlights. Then these big stars and like that are, for me, I think they are very beautiful. And actually, one of the most common steps in when you are editing night escapes or stars is reducing the number of stars. Our cameras get so much stars that it's super messy. Then what you do is you separate the nebulas from the stars. This is the most important thing in the edition, because you want to push the nebulas, but you don't want to burn out the colors of the stars, you know. So you have to separate and work them separately. Then one of the processes that you do always in the star is reducing it more or less, but you always reduce a little bit, because if not, it's like a big splash of points in there, and you don't see even a sky, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Then this is helping a lot because it's just leaving the, let's say, recognizable stars in frame. Then it's very nice.
So basically, would recommend it mostly for these landscape astro, as we called it. How did you say it? Lastro?
We just invented a while ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, I know, but we have to remember it. We have to push it, to everybody. So landscape astrophotography, Landstro. So this is definitely for all of you who are Landstro photographers. Okay. Now, let's talk about lenses for a second, because obviously there are quite a couple of lenses. We have mentioned some of them, which are in the cashback at the moment, which was the 714, for example, or 41-52-8. But basically, I mean, one thing which you definitely need to consider, and this is like the basics, if you want to take pictures of starry sky photography or starry sky in general, then it is the brightness. You definitely need a very bright lens, which this is also the reason why we have these free 1.2 lenses, 17, 25, 45. You said that you are using the 17-1.2, right?
Yeah, I have the 17 and the 45 and the 1240 and the 714 and the 8 millimeters out of this. I don't have the 12 and I don't have the 17 1.8 because I have the 17 1.2. But my point here is 2.8 is nice, okay? All the rest are much better for night shots, okay? Then what is very important is that the focal it defines a little bit the size of the Milky Way, okay? So for example, 8 millimeters is the typical big Milky Way in the sky, or if you want to do a panorama and get all the arc and like this, with the 8 millimeters you get the galactic center like this, and then the big strip, and you can see the strip. You can use the strip of the Milky Way to compose your framing, okay? Then the 17, okay, which will be around 35 millimeters in the typical 35 millimeters. I love it because it's basically without removing totally the sense of that the galactic center is in a, let's say, in the Milky Way. It's making the galactic center very big. It's the main thing in the sky if you shoot with the 17. So I love 17 because I like this and it's really nice. Then I really recommend 17, but 17 maybe sometimes is too big. So 12 is really amazing. So these are the three that I will recommend for Milky Way, like 8 millimeters for the whole, 17 for galactic center, but with a sense, and 12 for I want a big galactic center, but I want also the line of stars prominent, you know. Then these are the best. So
and then basically for the details, so you would probably use either the 45, right? Or one of these four, because this is really like the tell.
I also have the 70, the 75. The 75 is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
The 40-150, yeah. The 50-200, I have it. I had it. I was testing it, and I love it. It's it's crazy how good this is. Okay, this is the kind of lens that I said the OM system guys in Spain that they have to keep it far away from me, because this is one of these lenses that if I have it close, I will end up buying it. And the 300, poor guy, we had so many amazing lenses like the 150, 400, which is also amazing for Astro. But honestly, buying that one only for Astro is a little bit like overkill. But we had so many good lenses that everybody forgot about a little bit the old 300. And again, is amazing. It's still amazing. It's one of the best lenses in the system. Yeah. Actually, you're showing here 4 lenses that are absolutely, I mean, they are really, really amazing. The 40-150 is crazy good. The 75, guys, if you never try the 75, if you try it, you will get shock of how good also is.
41-50-2.8, to me personally, is, or has been until now, before the 50-200 appeared on the market, obviously, has been the most universal telelens, because you can still combine it with teleconverters, obviously, like 1.4, which I'm using on it. It is so sharp and so universal while you are focusing in and out, but you still have the 2.8 brightness. So to me, it's not only like outdoor lens, but it is universal because I can still use it indoors. So when I'm shooting weddings, of my friends and some events which are happening indoor, then I grab the 41-52.8, obviously. Outdoor, you can always use
for
it.
portraits is amazing. I mean,
Yes,
I have this one and I have the F4. Always that I go for landscapes, I get the F4 because I keep it in my pocket and I don't have even to carry a backpack. Then I have I carry a backpack because I have my clothes and my food and my things, but I don't carry a photography backpack. It's one of the advantages of the system. I get my 825 in my camera. I put my camera here and my 4150 in my pocket. But I have this one at home, and every time that I have to shoot persons, this is my lens to go. This one and the 17 1.2 for the whole body, but for this is amazing. Yeah,
but I have to admit that at my son's promotion, graduation promotion, which he had a couple of months ago, I actually took the 50-200 already, because I simply made use of the more reach, So the extra 100 millimeter was exactly what I needed in this big hole. So basically now it seems like the 50-200 replaced the 4150 to me, even though on the other hand, the 4150 is much smaller, much lighter. So there are cons and pros, but both are just about great. But talking about astrophotography,
we just took a little bit of the tour.
yeah, but both are very good. Talking about accessories to astrophotography, obviously, well, extra battery, I've already mentioned. So it's either extra battery or it is some power bank, because as I said, if it's power delivery type of power bank, you can use it for our cameras, OM-5, OM-3, OM-1 very easily. So you can have endless shooting. Then obviously you need some charger to charge the batteries if you have more of them. Amazing stuff. MWR2, which is our wireless. The wire is actually in the packaging, so you can use it wired, but you can also use it via Bluetooth wirelessly. So basically, this is something that's also great for not only astrophotography, but for macro photography shooting and stuff like that. And last but not least, obviously, if you are shooting outside and the temperatures are changing quite quickly, it can be 30-40 degrees during the day, but then at night it can be around 0 even, then obviously the fog and mist may appear on your lens. So you want to keep your lens warm and heated somehow. So that is why, for example, here in Europe, in our eShop, you can buy this Vixen 364 lens heater, which is just some sort of thing which you put around the lens, and it keeps the lens warm.
This is I just said mandatory. It's mandatory that you have one, this one, or there. I mean, you will put it once in a while, but that day you cannot shoot without it. Then it's something that it's not super expensive. You will keep it in your backpack. You need a USB thing to hit it, to power it, and if that day that is a little bit of humidity basically, and it's a little bit cold, the lens is always and you cannot even shoot.
There's a question,
William, with a power bank.
That's what I was about to say. You use external power banks, and then you just power it. Let's maybe we are basically almost ending up, right? Because what I wanted to say at the end, before we go to some questions, because there are still some questions which we need to answer, is that, for example, this type of image, which you have shot 2 days ago, was it? It was like 2 days ago, right? When you shot
it. Sorry?
This image you shot
this was on Friday. This was on last Friday.
Okay.
Last Friday.
So basically, this type of images you can shoot with the OM-3 ASTRO, and you see those amazing red nebulas up in the sky, which will not be there if you shoot a regular OM-3 or regular camera without this astro modification sensor or astro modified sensor.
About this image,
yes,
usually if I want to do this, I could put my camera in the tripod and shoot, in the tracker, and use a really long exposure with the high res, and instead of 12 photos for, this is with the 17, with the I did 10 seconds. Then instead of that, I can go for 50 seconds photo and 12 photos of 50 seconds, and the result will be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, I push myself because I want to show you guys and to show my friends in OM system and like this, what the camera can do alone without external help. Okay, the sky on this one, these are obviously 2 photos. One is for the sky, and after that I did a normal process for the foreground, both with the 17. But the important thing is the sky is only one shot in handheld high res, not track and not stack. Okay, only one handheld high res shot. Then this is important. Okay, from this point you can only go up if you decide to use a tracker, or you decide to shoot more than one and stack them after. About stacking is a very simple thing. Okay, every factor 4, okay, you get one stop of dynamic range, or in this case, one stop of ISO improvement. Every 4 factor, like if you stack 4 photos, you get 1 stop. If you stack 16 photos, because 4 by 4, 16, you get 2 stops. So actually what we are getting here is 2 stops of improvement, almost 2 stops, because it's 12 photos. Is 1 stop and a half, real 1 stop and a half improvement in dynamic range and in in noise improvement, because one thing is the dynamic range, the other thing is the noise improvement. And there is also one more point. Since we have a bigger photo, because it's 50 megapixels, when we are going to make it smaller, then our result is going to even be better, because the possible noise is a little bit less. So it's really, really, really a big advantage to use this mode, and the results are incredible. I get surprised that myself that I could get so much. This is the Bernard's loop, and that you can get so much color in there and so much powerful nebula clearness. Okay, it's really nice. It's addictive. I am not an astrophotographer. Again, I'm a landscape photographer, but honestly, this is addictive. Okay, you start getting this and you say, oh wow, I want more, I want to go and shoot more.
Absolutely. I'm just looking at the questions, and I think maybe you have answered like the most important ones. Just one, but I think we have somehow answered this one. Can you please cover the menu? Basically, what we have shown you guys is this slide, which basically covered it, right? So covered what the difference is in the setting of the C1, C2, C3 modes are, what the differences in the color profiles ones are. So I think this question has been somehow covered. Then basically, I think we have just answered. If you have more questions, please put them on now. Otherwise, if not, then I think, Moisés, I will have to thank you, because this was an amazing stuff. All of the information you gave us today, absolutely great, perfect. I mean, I can see you are not a landscape photographer, but you are also a great landscape astro or astrophotographer specifically. So you have great knowledge with the astro in general, now with OM-3 ASTRO even. And guys, are there more questions coming?
1 second. Yeah, that one. No. The Skip Sanders 5974 is asking. We are using 2 computational? No, never, ever. This is maybe the main limitation in OMSYSTEM.Cameras is only one magic at the same time. Okay. Actually, what I was telling is, when you are using the handheld high res, okay, the camera is what is doing the stacking. Okay, actually, the handheld high res is the stacking. You know, it's only this. It's one thing.
The thing is that it's like in the live ND mode. If you are using live ND mode for taking landscape pictures with waterfalls, for example, and you want to blur the water, then basically what does the live ND do? You know, it takes several shots, one after another, and obviously the moving part of the image, which would be the water falling, is different in different images, right? All other parts, like the stones or trees and things that don't move, they are still exactly in the same position. So they don't move, they will be same on the final image. So what you do, or what the camera does, not you, what the camera does, it takes all these images and sticks them together, meaning that water, as it's different on every single image, if you stick it together, then it's blurred. It's kind of causing this kind of white, I don't know, how would you call it, smudged area.
I'm sorry, you went to my favorite. This is my favorite tool in OM system, is the Live ND, and I think it's amazing. And I have to say to you guys, because I don't know if you know, but please, just after this session, just take your camera and try it, okay? Try this, okay? Then, again, look what Tomas said, okay? The Live ND, which is not related to astrophotography, but since he bring the Live ND to the conversation, Live ND, what it's doing is shooting a lot of photos and stacking together. Okay, do you remember what I said before? Every time that you stack a 4 factor, you get one more stop of dynamic range. So if you are using Live ND 128, 7 stops in the OM system OM1 Mark II, okay, you know that you can reach 128 Live ND. Then what the camera is doing is shooting 128 photos, stacking together in real time, and give you a raw file. What this means? This means that, look, 4 is 1 stop, 4 is 1 stop, 16 is 2 stops, 64 is 3 stops, 128 is 3 stops and a half. This means that you have much better dynamic range when you are using Live ND. Yes. Said so. Can you please show my Instagram again?
Yes, I will. In the meantime, I just want to ask you guys if you see Moisés, because I have lost Moisés' picture, but I can still hear you. So I hope everybody can still hear you, because what's important is what you are saying, obviously.
Oh my God.
Let me see.
Wait. It looks like it emptied my battery, and I'm going to change the battery of my camera, and the problem will be solved. Easy.
Sure,
easy.
No problem. And in the meantime, I am on your Instagram. So if there is an image I should look for, just let me know.
No. What I want to say is almost all these images, almost all of them, like a 90%, 95% of them are shot with Live ND. All of them. I mean, for example, this one in Amsterdam, or any, for example, this one of the in Dolomites. This one is Live ND. I mean, even if there is nothing moving, I shoot always Live ND, because what I do, this one is Live ND. Why I'm using a filter? Not because of the filter. I'm using a filter because of the big amount of dynamic range that I get, you know. Then all of them are Live ND, all these images. So it's absolutely fantastic to have this, because for landscape photographers, more or less, in all time, almost always what we are shooting is standing there. It's not moving. So I connected my camera again. Can you see me now?
Not really, but we can still hear you, so it's okay.
Okay, wait. Yes.
Yeah, now we can see you. Now we see you. Here we are. Okay. Welcome again, Moisés.
Then what I would like you to try, guys, is something very simple. You get your camera and you put your camera in your desk, like I am now. Don't worry. Put it and just point to something like this, something very, very dark. Okay. And underexpose one shot. Hey, wait, this one. the one with the waterfall, this one. For example, this one is only one shot. Only one shot. I didn't shoot the sky or I didn't use HDR. Only one shot.
So this is not like exposure bracketing of 3 or 5 images?
It's not exposure bracketing. It's not HDR. It's not like that. Our camera has more dynamic range than any full frame in the market if you use LiveND 64 or LiveND 128. So in this case, it was perfect because I needed the filters, because I want I was going to use it anyway. But the fact that I was using LiveND, I think 64 at this time, I think it was the OM1 Mark I, let's say, it's allowing me, this photo, if you see the raw, it was absolutely dark. The only thing that you can see is the sky, you know. Then right. I doubt that there is any other camera in the market that can shoot this place with only one photo.
So basically what you did with this LiveND is that you made the correct exposure of the sky while
yes.
the rest was totally black. But then in the like Photoshop or Lightroom, you just lit the black parts out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I was.
It's amazing how much data you are basically getting by these sort of stacked images, right? Like not only high-res shot, handheld high-res shot or normal high-res shot is stacked images, but also LiveND or graduated ND filter GND is also stacked images all together, basically.
Yeah, let me share the screen. Share the screen again. It's going to be super short.
Yeah.
This is going to be.
I see it now. I will share it within a second. Now, there you go.
This is going to
Can
be.
you make it full screen, please? Yeah, there you go. Great.
Okay. Did you see this photo? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So this photo, I go to super dark, super black. Okay. Then I can do this, and you see there are no points. There are no noise at all here. I can go crazy and go for the most dark parts, and I still get detail. Adding 5 stops of exposure between exposure and shadows is something crazy. And I'm making 300% zoom here. 300% is absolutely crazy. So this is the raw file. This is the raw file. Look where we were looking at. It was here. And the photo is this one.
Jesus. It's unbelievable.
Only one photo. It's not exposure blending, or it's not a stacking, nothing like that. It's just using LiveND. When you shoot the same photo in your desk with your normal photo, after that you switch on LiveND, shoot exactly the same photo, and then put them in your favorite edition software, Lightroom, whatever you are using, and push 5 stops the underexpose, obviously, push 5 stops and you will see the difference. You will get shocked, and you will use LiveND forever from that moment. Actually, when I switch on my camera, I have LiveND 128 on by default. If I don't want it, I remove it, but 90% of the photos of my Instagram are with LiveND.
Right. There's a nice question. Let's end up with this last question.
Yes.
Obviously, yes. Regular sensors do have several filters in front of the sensor. And does the OM-3 ASTRO still have any of these filters? They are still there. They are not like taken off. They are just modified to accept this 656 nanometers wavelengths, which is the nebula colors, which is the reddish, beautiful colors which are out there in the astrophotography. So.
If you have a camera,
so it's not that the IR filter would be totally taken away from the camera. It is still there, but it has been modified for this 600.
Yeah, if you have an old camera and go to one of these shops that they modify sensors, and you want an infrared camera, what they will do is they will take your infrared filter and they will remove it. If you ask for a Astro modification, what they will do is they will remove the one filter and they will add another filter that will cut the infrared, but will let this, and they will give you the old filter. So if you want to modify it back, you can give the camera and the old filter, and they will remove the filter that they put, and they will put the old one. So yeah.
So basically, very much depending on what type of photography you want to shoot, whether it's infrared or ultraviolet, UV light, then the modification is done. But we have done the modification already. So if you buy the OM-3 ASTRO, you have a camera which is modified and prepared for beautiful, amazing astro shots. Basically,
let me just finalize with one fun fact. Okay, then this is my OM-1 Mark III. Okay, right. That I astro modified long time ago. Okay, because I didn't know that OM system had in Spain was not you cannot buy the astro modified OM Mark. Okay, so this company modified it. Okay, you cannot see because it's focusing to my eyes. This company modified it. It doesn't matter. Anyway, you cannot see this. And they put this sticker so they know if somebody opens the camera, if this stick is broken, then I lose the warranty. Okay, then the other day this camera was not working. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I send it to OM system and they will say that I changed the sensor, or I send to these guys and, and they will say that it's the camera that it's not working. So this is one of the best things that it's good for you to get a camera that it's supported officially, all of it for the brand. Thanks God, the only thing that happened is the battery was dead, totally dead. So I just put another battery and it was working, because these cameras are tanks, honestly.
That's great. And as you are saying it, that it's obviously much better to buy a specifically designed or dedicated astro camera. I'm just on a UK website now at the moment on our eShop. And as you can see, there are our regular cameras, OM1, OM3, OM5, but there it is. There is the OM-3 ASTRO camera. So it is basically available on the eShop or through some dedicated specialized dealers in some major countries within Europe. So basically you can buy it wherever you want to. But as Moisés just pointed out, you get the full 2-year warranty, with the camera. So basically there's like no problems if you have a regular camera and have it modified somewhere else, losing the warranty, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. You lose the warranty. So guys, it has been an absolute pleasure to stay here with all you. I love it. Usually I do this in Spanish in Spain, but I'm not used to do it like for this. Or I get shocked when I saw people from New Zealand and from US, and my gosh, I wish someday I can visit all of you guys. And if you want to contact with me, I will be super happy to speak with you, and we can go deep in any question you have. I'm super available in my Instagram, and you can go there and contact me, and I will be super happy to know all of you personally.
Moisés, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was overwhelming. I mean, lots of information today. You guys don't remember, if you are landscape photographers, also want to shoot landscape astro, this is exactly the camera for you. Just go. You already know the menu. You already know how to handle our cameras, because the menu is the same. So you will not have to learn anything new, any special things. The OM-3 ASTRO is here for you, just about ready to be bought. And basically, if you want to see Moisés in person, as he just mentioned, there are his workshops. Don't forget his workshops. Don't forget Moisés's Instagram, which I'm putting just for sure down below. You can see Photomoisho. That's where you find him. There's also his website there. So you will see all these amazing images. And Moisés, next time, probably with Tito in Spanish, maybe if somebody else in English language.
Around there, they are saying to do one specific for Live ND. I will.
That's what I'm about to say. We will definitely have to do the Live ND tutorial. Sometime.
Guys, by the way, I will be in London just in case there are somebody from the vicinity, and if there is somebody in the neighborhood, and I will be in London in a workshop from 7 to 11.
Nice.
Something like that, 7 to 11 March. Then, I don't know, maybe.
Great, perfect. Moisés, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. And in Czech, we say, I wish you a good light, which is like photographers say to photographer, I wish you a good light, because for photography, you need a good light. Not in astrophotography, though. There's a different light, but there is still some light coming up from the stars.
Yeah. So, very dark skies, okay?
Dark skies.
This is what we want.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye, guys. Bye.
Bye, everybody.